The crystalline combat arena hummed with gravitational stabilizers as Princess Zarketh of the Velthari Empire stepped onto the polished obsidian platform. Her forearms flexed in sequence, each movement causing the bioluminescent patterns along her exoskeleton to pulse with confident violet light. The arena's atmospheric processors adjusted to accommodate both her methane-based respiratory system and the oxygen mixture required by her opponent. "You won't last a minute, human," she announced through her translation implant, her mandibles clicking with amusement. The words echoed across the stadium where 10,000 spectators from a dozen species watched through quantum-entangled view screens. Across the arena, Commander Sarah Chen stood motionless in her standard-issue Earth Defense Force vacuum suit. No weapons, no armor enhancements. Just the basic environmental protection required for deep space operations. She'd insisted on it. The Velthari had laughed at her simplicity. Zarketh's compound eyes analyzed her opponent with predatory precision. Humans were weak. Everyone knew this. Their single heart, their laughably slow neural response times, their dependence on a narrow range of atmospheric conditions. They'd only discovered faster-than-light travel 15 cycles ago, stumbling into galactic politics like infants into a fusion reactor. This human female stood barely 1.7 meters tall, possessing only 2 arms, 2 legs, and ridiculously fragile bone structure. The princess had agreed to this challenge to humiliate Earth's diplomatic envoy. Her empire spanned 47 star systems. Earth controlled 3 planets and some mining asteroids. This would be a lesson in knowing one's place in the cosmic hierarchy. "Combatants ready," the Arbiter's synthesized voice announced. "Victory achieved through submission, incapacitation, or voluntary withdrawal. Lethal force is prohibited by Galactic Accords, Section 447B. Neural monitoring engaged." Zarketh launched herself forward with enhanced musculature that could generate forces exceeding 12 Earth gravities. Her species had evolved on a high-gravity world orbiting a blue supergiant. Her reaction time was measured in milliseconds. She had trained since childhood in the 700-year-old martial art of Kethvar. Chen didn't move. The princess's first strike came with 2 arms simultaneously, a classic Kethvar opening designed to overwhelm an opponent's defensive capabilities. Her clawed hands moved at speeds that would blur human vision. Chen's left hand rose with calculated precision, redirecting the princess's right primary arm by 3.7 degrees. The subtle angle change sent Zarketh's considerable momentum vectoring off-target. Chen's right hand simultaneously intercepted the second strike, applying pressure to a joint angle that Velthari anatomy couldn't efficiently resist. The princess stumbled. Impossible. No organism should possess the processing speed to track her movements, let alone counter them. She recovered immediately, all 4 arms now engaged in a complex attack pattern that would require simultaneous processing of 12 individual threat vectors. Kethvar masters spent decades mastering such techniques. Chen moved through the attacks like water flowing around stones. Each redirection was minimal, efficient, and preceded the actual strike by microseconds. She wasn't reacting, she was predicting. Zarketh's confidence flickered. She activated her secondary visual spectrum, scanning for hidden technology, neural enhancements, anything that would explain this human's impossible performance. The scanners showed nothing, just biological tissue, standard bone density, basic human neurology. "What are you?" the princess hissed, switching to a ground-based grappling technique. Chen finally spoke, her voice calm. "A species that evolved as persistence hunters on a death world with 1G gravity, volatile weather patterns, and aggressive megafauna." She sidestepped Zarketh's charge, using the princess's own momentum to guide her past. "We didn't develop faster-than-light travel because we're advanced. We developed it because we're stubborn," the princess roared. Biological combat stimulants flooding her system. compounds that would kill most species through cardiac overload. Her strikes accelerated further, creating sonic disruptions in the arena's atmosphere. Chen absorbed a glancing blow to her shoulder, used the impact energy to spin into Zarketh's guard, and applied pressure to 3 of the princess's 4 arms simultaneously. The leverage was perfect. The princess's own enhanced strength worked against her as she struggled, driving her further off balance. "You evolved on a high-gravity world," Chen continued conversationally, maintaining her holds. "Strong, fast, efficient, but predictable. Your combat art is beautiful, it really is, but it's optimized for opponents with similar physiology." Zarketh's remaining free arm struck toward Chen's head with killing force. Chen released 2 holds, ducked beneath the strike, and swept the princess's legs with a technique that had originated in East Asian martial arts 3,000 Earth years ago. The princess crashed onto the obsidian platform. Before she could rise, Chen had positioned herself with one knee gently but firmly pressed against Zarketh's primary breathing spiracle. "Humans spent 10,000 years fighting each other," Chen said quietly. "Every climate, every gravity, every terrain. We developed hundreds of martial systems, thousands of combat styles. We learned to fight opponents stronger, faster, and more numerous than ourselves." The princess's bioluminescence flickered from violet to the pale blue of shock. The crowd was absolutely silent. "When we finally reached the stars and found we weren't alone," Chen continued, "we didn't stop being what we were. We just became more careful about who we fought." She extended her hand. "I didn't come here to humiliate you, Your Highness. I came to make a point about assumptions." 47 seconds had elapsed since the match began. Zarketh stared at the offered hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, she reached up with her primary arm and accepted it. Chen helped her rise, and the arena erupted in a cacophony of alien vocalizations. Shock, approval, confusion, respect. "Your empire spans 47 systems," Chen said as the arbiter declared the match concluded. "Humanity would prefer to be your friends rather than test whether we could make it 46. The princess's mandibles clicked in what her species used for rueful laughter. "I believe, Commander Chen, that we should discuss this treaty your diplomats have been proposing." "I was hoping you'd say that, Your Highness." As they walked together from the arena, Zarketh reflected on the human concept she'd dismissed as primitive superstition. Never underestimate the creature that climbed to the top of its food chain without claws, fangs, or armor. Only tool use, pattern recognition, and relentless determination. She had lasted 47 seconds against a human. She suspected that was 46 seconds longer than the human had needed.